Well, hello and welcome back to EML League 2 for round number 5 taking place tonight at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. My name is Graham and joining me tonight as always for EML League 2 it is Storm Kings. How you getting on?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, good evening everyone to EML again for the last race in 2021. We are at the Red Bull Ring, as you said, in Austria, Spielberg, the home for Red Bull Racing as we know it. And yeah, it's an interesting track, one of the very short tracks of around about a 1:02 to 1:03 times. We may see a few of the drivers dip maybe into a low, well, not a low should I say, because that'd be esports level, but maybe like a 1:02.8, maybe pushing a 1:02.7. It also depends on whether we could expect rain. It is quite notorious that this track does offer rain, not as what we had in France when we had the rerun.
Yeah, absolutely. Two differing tales there. We'll see what the story is tonight. While we wait to get going, we could maybe just refresh your memory from last time out in France. Of course, it wasn't too long ago. It was an excellent performance from NLR. They got themselves a 1-2 with the Reapers finishing ahead of Felix 1, and then TRT rounding out the podium, as we suspected at the time when Smalley got his penalty removed. He ended up indeed having that removed, and he ended up finishing in third place. So just a really, again, like we said at the time, it was just a really well executed race from NLR.
Yeah, definitely. Plan executed there by NLR, and yeah, fair play to him. They had it in the bag on that rerun race after the first postponed, abandoned race that we had in France. But yeah, I think the second one was very interesting. Felix and Reeps just controlled the race. Slash just couldn't get near. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes, if NLR can maybe do the same, or if anyone can maybe challenge them.
Well, they're certainly in a very interesting position. Why don't you take us through the standings, having obviously with that excellent result for NLR last time out?
Yeah, so the standings from, or as of round 4 in EML League 2 from Paul Ricard in France. Neverlast Racing, known as NLR Esports, lead the way at the front with 123 points. In second place is TTG Racing Team with 119 points. In third place is Esports Wales Tan with 99 points. In fourth is the TRT Academy with 94 points. In fifth place is OWR Esports with 80. In sixth place is QVR Academy with 57 points. In seventh is Norway Scuderia with 50 points. In eighth is BNL Racing Esports with 44 points. And in ninth is CPI Academy with 36. And in 10th place is COS Esports, now with -5.
So looking to get over that into the positive for the first time this season, but plenty of battles like the top two, obviously 4 points separating them. Nice little battle for third between ESW, TRT and QVR, and a little battle for fifth, sixth there with QVR, NSR and BNL with CPI not too far behind that as well. So battles everywhere you look.
Yeah, definitely, and that's great for us as commentators and people watching the stream. We want to see them battles, and because Austria is such a short track, you are going to see a lot of the battles because everyone's going to be so close around the track as well. So yeah, qualifying is going to be interesting, and I think the race will be interesting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just looking to get going here. Let's actually see what the conditions are first before we go through the lineup for this evening. A couple of people had to on the listed lineups here, I believe, have had to call upon their reserves. We'll get to that in just a moment. In the meantime, what are we looking at? We're going to get rain as well. It is quite overcast, but it is certainly dry to begin affairs here.
Yeah, and it is looking a bit overcast, as you said, but all the drivers are currently on the soft compound side, so we'll wait to see who comes out first. Oh, that's the Reaps on mediums. No Felix here tonight. They've gone with Dylan and the Reaps, so maybe they're going to give Felix a break, as up until France he was a one-man team.
Yeah, he's been certainly at the front of the field for most of this season. Let's go through the, I believe actually the Reapers is going to be the first man on the track, I believe. Or no, there's someone out in front, we'll pick him up. But we'll get to the lineups Actually, it's Morgan who's out first for sorry, I lost my place here. Morgan, I believe he's QVR. He's one of the reserves that had to be called upon, but we'll go through the lineup as they were listed. For TTG, it is TTG Laska and TTG Crimes. For OWR, it is OWR. You can of course correct me by the we come to the end of the list who's actually here and who's actually not. I'll go over the ones I know. OWR Nitan and OWR Guten Simon. Guten Simon? Again, please, every week we implore you, if we get your team driver's pronunciation wrong, you're more than welcome to educate us. For QVR, it is QVR Maledictus and QVR Morgan. It looks like he's taking in the in place of QVR Brad. For BNL, it is BNL RE Yarno and BNL RE Luke. Yarno running under a different PSN this evening. So, in case you're confused, for NSR, it is NSR Max Fierro and NSR Madsen. For ESW, Welsh Maldonado is being replaced tonight by Ivor Bryn Mike, who lines up alongside of Pizatron. For ECOS is ECOS Saucy. ECOS Shifters, I believe, is also stepping in. We have a retirement already, do we? Oh yes, I believe CPR Marcel already out of the session. I'm not sure if he was serving the ban or if he's already had an accident, but alas, we're now down to 18 runners now. For NLR, it is NLR Dylan and the Reapers, as Storms mentioned. For CPR Marcel and Basti, and then for TRT, it is I Am Sloth and Smalley. So that is how we line up this evening.
Yeah, just going through the steward's office from I can't remember where we. Oh, France. The decision between Get On My Faust, which was ECOS, NSR Thomas, and CPI Reds from their respective teams. There was a qualifying ban issued for purposely triggering a safety car, so that's why one is out.
They're both out, so that's exactly why they're both out. So
yeah,
CPI,
I think it's a double.
that.
Yeah, I think it's a double penalty. NSR Thomas from Norway Scooter Rear also was awarded a 10-second penalty for unsafe rejoin on the track. That was involved with a Esports Wales TAN driver, and obviously the penalty was granted for a removal from Smalley. So hopefully everything goes as planned here in Austria, as we don't want fancy a rerun of France, because it is the last race of the year, but we don't want to be stepping into 22 just yet.
Not quite. Ivor Mike is also out of the session, so two CPIs serving their ban, and Ivor Mike is now out of the equation as well. Most drivers, TTG Crimes is set the fastest lap so far, and I think he's gone for back-to-back runs. He's just got the ERS to do it, and he improves. Third at 103.4 on 2-lap old soft, so showing that there is enough ERS left in the tank to go for a second consecutive run. Just about. He may have lost a bit of time at the end there because he's under 10%.
Yeah, and this is the competitive part about it. Reeps from NLR has set his time on the medium compound, and he's only 4/10 off that soft tyre of Crim. So, yeah, I think we may just be seeing Reeps up in the pole position place or very, very close.
His teammate goes second with a 103.4 as well, just a couple of hundreds between them. There's a car in the wall. That is Smalley coming out of turn 1. Not sure if he was on an in lap, but because the DRS is basically to boot, but struggling to keep control of the car, as sometimes it can be when you lose the lose the back end and spin. The rears to get particularly hot, they can be hard to come back to you.
Yeah, and especially with this track limits. Yeah, we aren't going to talk about it as much, as I know the drivers don't like them, but I think we could be seeing a few penalties being added to drivers' race time, because obviously the track limits here are numerous places, especially turn 1, I believe, as you come out the first corner, and obviously the final corner as well. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a driver with not a penalty this evening. But yeah, all the drivers now on the soft compound tyre, except from NLR Dylan, who has opted for the mediums, but is in the pits.
So some people beginning their second runs now, or at least trying to get their first one, first successful one in. Odiwar and Nitan getting his on his way back out. A couple of cars on the night level like the Reapers and Morgan. So it is a TTG front row for the time being, but plenty of time left. And they could do a good bounce back after it has to be said, a disappointing French Grand Prix for Team TTG, but that's a good start. I think it's always encouraging when you can get yourself right amongst the top positions on your first run, because that especially at a track where you're looking to do 2 or 3 runs at least, certainly alleviates a lot of the pressure to come out and set a really competitive time when you know you have one on the board.
Yeah, and especially with the track invalidations here, you are going to need to be potentially setting maybe more than one banker lap. And I think also traffic can play a big factor here, because the track is so short. That final sector is going to be very chaotic. I don't think there will be a gentleman's agreement, as there notoriously is supposed to be in F1. And some drivers may just get a little bit impatient and maybe go a little bit quicker, and we may see some final action ran about that final corner in the final moments. But yeah, I'm just on board with Reeves. He is on a flying lap again. He's gone for the softs as he goes through the second DRS zone down into turn 4, obviously where we saw Hamilton and Albon have the famous incident as he takes the curb on there as he comes out the exit of turn 4 into turn number 5, and then he'll come to the end of sector 2 as he takes a lot of the curb there. He keeps it valid should I say, and then he goes through as he invalidates. Commentator's curse there.
Odiwar Nitan coming across the line. He goes up to 11th place, 105.2. You'd have to say probably some more time to be found for a lot of these drivers, just maybe getting up on the curb or finding some way to disrupt their lap, because I would imagine most, as Victus invalidates his lap at the exit of turn 1, you probably want to be aiming for it certainly into the 3s, and if not a low 4 where kind of Morgan is at the moment.
Yeah, but the question is here, do you really want to be starting it in the top 10? Because you could have a safety car here, because the short track, everyone very bunched up and everything. So yeah, and with how many laps it is 36 laps, so I predict maybe drivers going for a 2-stop, because the softs won't last and maybe the mediums wouldn't go the distance maybe required. I know a lot of these drivers, their time management is very good, but yeah, I do predict maybe a 2-stop is a better way to get up the field if you are lower down, outside the top 10.
Because Saucy goes into 3rd place with a 103.6, a couple of times coming down. I always think, especially at a track where as notorious as DRS trains can be, such as this one, I always think that track position is key. You can do a 1-stop soft to medium, but it will require a safety car, to an extent, depending on what tyres you start on, of course, a safety car free run. Of course, you can just go onto the hards if the one comes out early enough, but I would expect we would see majority soft, medium, and Alaska then improves his time and goes ahead of his teammate. 103.2 is the new stick to aim for. His teammates on an invalid lap, but I would always think a place with 3 DRS zones and trains to be abundant, I would think that maybe track position on this occasion would be the way to go. It can be quite difficult to overtake in a DRS train here.
Yeah, and I think also if you are going to do a 2-stop, then it would be maybe a soft medium or a soft medium, whichever way. I don't think we'll see any drivers on the hards, as they are the slower tyre, obviously, unless there is a safety car really early in the race and a driver does go for the hards. Then yeah, I think that'd be the only time we would see him. But speaking to the drivers, in the Discord as well. We are expecting a dry race, but the weather is set to approximate, so we could see some rain in the race, but at the moment it is going to be a dry race.
Looks like another mistake or another spin for Smalley coming out of turn 1. A lot of people on an invalid lap, so I've been trying to cycle through to find someone on a valid lap. There's a lot of invalid laps flying around, and NLR Dylan adds another one to that list. He's coming at the end of his lap too. That's a shame. Gets caught on the curb at turn 8. Disappointing one for him. I wonder if he'll, because the cars are notoriously overfueled for minimum fuel, it does allow people to go out for another run. But here comes TG. I think you are right. I think it is Crims.
Yeah.
103.2. He goes 1,000 ahead of his TTG teammate. So all going according to plan for the time being for TTG.
Yeah, just riding on board with BNLR or Luca. Whoa, that was cutting it close from. I believe that was an NLR driver. That may have been. No, that's not Dylan. Reeps. No, somebody just. As Luca was going into the pits, just absolutely shot past him within the pit entry. Yeah, Luca, I don't know what happened with that, but coming into the pits, he had no wing. And I think the stewards may be looking at that pit entry, as we know that it cuts on to the track as well. So that'll be interesting to see how the drivers take that. But yeah, Smalley, he's finally on a lap that is valid as he goes through the DRS zone and heads his way down to turn 4, should I say, not P4. Turn 4, he's on the mediums. He's done 2 laps on these, so they will be bedded in now and right up to temperature. So he's gone through turn 4, nice and easy there as he comes through turn 5. He doesn't want to take too much of the curb here, as it can invalidate as he comes to the end of sector 2, now into sector 3 through turn 6 and 7. He's now got the little bit of a climb up into the final 2 corners here as he goes through them now. He's got to be late on the brakes here. Hopefully he doesn't invalidate. He doesn't, and his time is going to put him up into P8, just behind NLR Dylan on the mediums.
Still the highest runner on the medium compound tyre, 4 flat for Smalley. Just interested in the 2 runs then, it seems. Saving a set of softs, always a good option. The Reapers went 3rd, with a 103.3 just ahead of him. So NLR Dylan is off. He's lost coming out of turn 7 and 8. So where he invalidated his first flying lap. He is in 3rd though on a 103.9, but he has done it on tyres that are a few laps old. So again, if you think about doing the 1 stop to mediums, you want to be taking as little pain, or rather avoid unnecessary pain on those mediums, and especially after a spin as well. That will do him no favours whatsoever.
No, you don't want to be spinning on a tyre that you are going to use in the race. And yeah, I just question his thought of doing 3 laps on the mediums, as he may need them in the race. So yeah, it is going to be interesting at the top, as I can't see what the time is left because it's saying sector 3 yellow flags, but there is no. Oh, it's just Smalley moving out of the way. So 3 minutes left on the clock. With this being a short track, around about a 1 minute 2 to 1 minute 3, the drivers will be coming out very shortly for them final runs, and I expect Smalley to switch to the soft now, as sector 3 is showing yellow flags. Oh, it's a glitch, I think. Yeah, as we come into the final 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, a combination of cars on in laps slash some early ones on out laps slash starting their laps. One being Jarno in a pretty nifty 5th place at the moment. Would be in a good spot if he could keep this up as he starts his final lap again. Just a wide, and yeah, just takes a bit too much curb on the inside. Just unsettles a little bit as he unravels onto the outskirts of turn 1, and that is how you invalidate that very quickly here. A difficult one to get right, this turn 1, as Max Fierro has spun out of turn 3. A difficult traction zone, turn 3. I think you'll, especially when it can be a place where you slip up on your own, but especially when you're, fighting someone as well, you're trying to think about so many different things at once. You're fighting in a car. It can be a place where you can very easily just lose a bit of concentration, and then your exuberance to try and fight the driver alongside you, you can easily light it up and lose that battle very quickly.
Yeah, and with this track being the way it is, and the way it is with the shortness. I think, as we can see now, coming through turn 4, there's about 4 cars. I think that's one of the NSR drivers may have had a spin as the cars behind them were let through. And yeah, as you can see, coming through to the final sector now, there's about 5, maybe 6 cars. Oh, somebody has had a spin or an accident coming through out of turn 5 as one of the OWR drivers is now into the pits. So I don't think they'll be able to get in and get back out for another lap as their quality may be over. Morgan on a lap at the moment as he comes up into turn 3 and into that DRS zone. Set the 1 yellow flags. Oh, there's carnage at turn 1. I think as there's about 4 or 5 drivers trying to get through. And yeah, this could be a cagey and exciting end to qualifying.
Yeah, mix of people on out laps. Some people trying to negotiate them, as well as there's bad laps everywhere as well. But Crims is on a lap. He is currently 1,000 ahead of his teammate. To see if he can extend the gap. Even if he were to invalidate, he still has time to set one more fine lap, but he's marginally up on his time. Keeps it beautifully within the track limits there. It was on the edge stuff. Last 2 corners, this inside curve for turn 9 can be difficult, especially at low speed. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see someone spin as they try to enter the pit lane. Gets a little bit on that sausage curve, but a beautiful, clean lap for Crims, and he goes a few hundreds quicker, 600s quicker to be exact, and he extends his advantage at the top of provisional pole. The Reapers on the second row, but gets it all out of shape coming up to the line. That would have been a 3.2, would have been an improvement, would have left him third, but invalidations costing him dearly there.
Yeah, but maybe on this track, maybe starting P1 may just be a driver's nightmare going into turn 1, because it's not such a blind corner, but it's very difficult to kind of stay in first because you've got P2 and P3 right behind you going into that corner, as Ecos Sossi is on the lap as well. He's in P4. Maybe that -5 deficit to Ecos may just be turned into a more positive and plus number this evening, as they are riding at the moment in P4 and P17 respectively.
Checker flag is out. There's a lot of cars around the same part of the track. It looks like oh, there's a spin for BNL Luke coming out of this turn 9, but there's a lot of activity towards this kind of turn 7, 6, 8 process. That is Ecos Saucy on a lap. It looks like an NSR Madsen rather certainly seem to disrupt that. Ecos Saucy still in 4th, 103.6 as he reaches the checkered flag. Where is Smalley on Saucy? He's invalidated his lap. He's still on the medium combat tires, unless Pisatron, who's not going to improve, he's invalidated his lap. That's going to be it for qualifying, and sadly not a lot of action because everyone just really invalidated their laps. I think actually the Reapers, yeah, he's invalidated too, so kind of anticlimactic shootout in the end. Crims was the only one that really stayed valid and improved his position.
Yeah, and also Ecos Shifters moved up from P17 to a nice P8, so both Ecos drivers are in the top 10, so that's a great qualifying from them. Also the NLR drivers of Dylan and the Reaps also in that top 6, and yeah, I think the race will be very interesting as everyone will be fighting, and we also wait to see what ESW, Ivor Bryn Mike and the 2 CPI drivers of Basti and Marcel have yet to offer.
Yeah, just waiting for affairs to finish. We can run you through to the grid, but yeah, there he is. You can see the tyres that people set their best laps on, so it is Smalley on those mediums. I do wonder, 3 laps all, I do wonder if you can only imagine he would. So I can imagine he probably maybe wanted to set his time on softs, but he's going to be a little vulnerable, perhaps, especially being at the. It's one thing to be on the different tyre a little further up the field, like a 6th or a 7th, but 11th, 12th, maybe starting on softs, feeling optimistic. We'll see how that. He could be swamped. We'll see how the tyre choice unfolds. It is Crims ahead of Laska as an all TTG front row. They needed that one, and it's gone according to plan for them in qualifying. The Reapers then in 30 ahead of Ecos Saucy in 4th. Yarno then in 5th. Dylan then managed to recover after his spins and the such. He lines up sixth on tyres I assume are significantly fresher than he set his first lap on. I am Sloth in seventh. Ecos shifters then, as he mentioned, good qualifying for Ecos. Put himself in the 2 cars inside the top 10 ahead of QVR Maledictus, and then Smalley rounding out the top 10 ahead of Morgan, Guten, Simon, Paisatron, Nitan, Max Fierro, Madsen, Luke, and then ahead of Iverben, Mike, Basti, and CPI Marcel. I just got that in at the buzzer.
Yeah, and this is a great hand for TTG. They can keep the cards close to their chests now, as they have P1 and P2 like NLR had in the race, as it is sunny here in Austria, Spielberg, for the Red Bull Ring, home of the Red Bull Racing team, as yeah, I think it'll be an interesting 36 laps. It'll be also great to see if TTG can hold off the top 2 positions, because going into 2022, that would set up a very nice and interesting battle between Neverlast Racing and TTG going into Kota on the 26th of January in 2022.
Yeah, very much so. And see, the star will be key. If they can keep those top 2 positions, they have a good chance to dictate proceedings. But the repos is right there, and Dylan is in the top 6 as well. So they're on hand. Our NLR, should anything pop off up top, if they get a little feisty between themselves. You never know. Stranger things have happened. But away we go for the formation lap. And okay, here's the tyre situation. As you've rightly predicted, no one's starting on the hard compound tyres outside the top 10. Smalley, as you mentioned, he's on those 3-lap-old mediums. He can be thankful that Morgan, right alongside him, is starting on mediums as well. That'll help protect him a little bit against the fast-starting softs. Guten Seaman is on... Let's go on Guten, because that is a mouthful. He's on softs, and Paisatron is on mediums. Then we got Oliver Nitan, Max Fierro, and Madsen, NSR Madsen on softs. And we already got disqualifications on the formation lap already, but BNL Luke on mediums. Iverben Mike going for the aggressive softs in 18th place, and the 2 CPI cars on mediums. So a bit more of a... I have to say, I'm looking at that now, I'm a little bit surprised that as many drivers as they have outside the top 10 have chosen softs, especially in their positions. I would have expected maybe the likes of Morgan and even to the likes of Paisatron perhaps to start on softs, because they're close enough to the top 10. What this threatens is if they, Smalley and Morgan, kind of stay put, and a bit of a train maybe kind of emerges, all of a sudden if you're trapped in that, say, P14, 15 or so areas on softs, then your strategy is kind of unfolding right before your eyes.
Yeah, as Laska, or if that's how you pronounce it, I do apologise. He is going to have to kind of do the Sergio Perez work that he did in Abu Dhabi, and defend like a lion, as the drivers are now going to line up into their greatest position. And I'll hand you over to my commentator colleague Graham for the race start here in EML League 2 for round number 5 here in Austria.
Good to go on board with the Reapers, at least off the line. Not the longest run to turn 1, but you'll see a lot more overtake opportunities, I reckon, up towards turn 3. Here we go then. 5 red lights, and away we go. It's a good start for the 2 TTGs. They're going to be unopposed heading into turn 1. If anything, the Reapers are going to be under a little bit of pressure from Ecos, Saucy, Dylan in the mix as well, but that's a perfect start for Team TTG as they look to run away from the rest of the field of Reapers. No real overtake opportunities emerging. Ecos, Saucy, same story. So it looks like it'll be fairly civil heading up to turn 1, although defensive driving from Maledictus. He's got Sloth and his teammate Morgan in close proximity as he goes to attack Yarno on the exit. Gets a good slip coming out of turn 3. He's going to have the inside line heading down towards turn 4. No real change at the top, but this is the closest actually we've got for an overtake for P6. And Maledictus sends it, goes a little bit deep. That'll allow Yarno to switch back, but again he's on the outside heading into turn number 6. Can he hang it around? Oh, gets a little push somewhat, but he can be able to keep the position ahead of Sloth.
Yeah, and quite noticeable change as well. All set the 2 yellow flags, but yeah, quite noticeable. Dylan gets himself up to P5, and that's going to only benefit NLR as Dylan only has Ecos Sossi, or Sossi, or however you pronounce it, in front of him to help Reap. So we could be looking at a top 4 battle here between TTG and NLR. So yeah, it's going to get very spicy here in Austria.
Good start for them. Pysatron is off at turn 1. He's had an accident as a couple of people into the pits, the likes of Guten and Madsen into the pits, going upon fresh mediums. At the front though, separated by less than a second, the top, like I say, a good start for NLR. That was very good for Dylan to get himself in the top 5 as well. And then there's a bit of a medium kind of gaggle, and you got Ecos shifters in between, and Basti having started from the back of the grid. The 2 CPI cars have made great progress amidst the I guess the lap 1 chaos, and Shifters must have damage because he is going very slowly, and that allows the 2 CPI cars to go through. He must have wing damage. He's understeering horribly through this second sector here.
Yeah, and that's what you don't want around this track. As yellow flags in sector 2 and 3. I believe that is a NSR driver, and that may be Max. No, it's not Max. It's his teammate Madsen, and I believe no, it would be Max, as he has a bit of an incident. As Shifters is now into the pits, and yeah, very unfortunate for Shifters. Was qualified P8, I believe, and yeah, that's a wing change and a new set of mediums.
TTG might have to think about swapping positions here to go back and forth. Crims didn't have DRS that time. Of course, DRS is now activated as Morgan gets by Maledictus. Maledictus is kind of slipping a bit. He may have had a bit of a moment coming out of turn 3, just watching to see if any lead change happened there. But with obviously the Reapers very close behind, it will be difficult to switch these positions in a way that doesn't come with DRS. So I wonder if they may just go back and forth between the two. Whoever doesn't have the DRS just allows the one with DRS possibly to go by. Be interested to see how TTG play this. They're in a precarious little spot. They need to get this right. Good opportunity to get back in front of the constructors' standings.
Yeah, and the other situation here as Ecos, oh no, that's Jarno quickly takes that fastest lap. The fastest lap point is quite valuable, I believe, also because it can get you up a position or not. As Jarno and Dylan are going to have a battle for P5 and 6, as Dylan has dropped down to P6, so it's not helping his teammate at the moment, but yeah, he's going to have to try and get that position back to put the pressure back on Sozzy for that P4 position.
The 2 TTG cars did indeed switch, as Laska leading ahead of Crims. Got Basti and Smalley going side by side, both on mediums. And this is important enough because, again, high medium runners looking to try and make their move later on the soft compound tires. That's big for Dylan and Jarno, because what is happening is they're losing. Jarno's out of DRS range, and Smalley already has a penalty. That's the first penalty of the day. Jarno's already out of DRS range of the top 4, who are all within DRS of each other. So if Dylan wants to be in the mix here with his teammate against TTG, then he's going to need to find a way to get past Jarno and back within a second of Ecos Austria. We're going to have another switch of position again. This is why I thought would be the case, back and forth between Crims and Laska. And it's tough. They can't break away from the Reapers, and that's going to make things difficult. But they are helping their case just back and forth like this, make sure they're not held up.
Yeah, and I think with a track like this that is short and it has the 2 DRS zones, the 2 DRS zones will help getting the 2 switches done. And that's what NLR did in France. They used the DRS when needed, and yeah, they just switched between the 2.
Little naughty from Smalley there. Squeezed Marcel a bit, who was giving a little bit of a squeeze back, side by side heading through turn 6. And Marcel takes that position off of Smalley. So Smalley, we've seen Smalley up amongst the leaders this season, but very much in the thick of it here and paying the price for a poor qualifying session. He's actually going to dive into the pits, it looks like, on medium, so he must have sustained damage one way or another. But he is coming into the box to make a stop. Interesting what he puts on.
Yeah, and it's absolutely been a fantastic start in the first 6 laps for CPI, as they are now riding in P10 and P11. So going to be potentially a good points finish here if they can keep this up, as they are working together both on the medium compound tyre, and it'll be interesting to see where they do finish, as the two Esports Wales TAN drivers all getting rather close, as I think they are going to do a switch here and play a bit of team orders, which we normally see in the team events in EML. But yeah, going into turn 4, ESW Ivor Bryn Mike leads Esports Wales around.
Lovely helicopter shot here of the leaders. Oh, we've got a car off. Is that it looks like it's Morgan who's off at turn 7, and he was running inside the top 10 on medium. He's actually the highest running member on the medium, so he's actually that's a very costly spin for Morgan. And QVR, his teammate among many that goes ahead. Again, the two TTG drivers swapped last lap, and they're going to be swapping this lap too. The difference is the Reapers is not too far away, so maybe if you can get in on the action here, maybe it prevents them from doing this again. Let's see. Again, Crims is gone ahead of Laska, but again, Laska's going to have the DRS, and it's going to make it difficult for the Reapers, who's biding his time here. He's got 90% ERS at his disposal to use when the time is right. So, just hanging on nicely, as is Ecos Saucy. You've got Sloth gained by Dylan. So Dylan falling down the order a bit. His qualifying pace not quite translating into race pace, and as Sloth moves into 6th place, just over a second or so behind Jarno, who's now, you can see the effect that not having DRS is having to the guys in front. Now that gap is 2.2 seconds and growing from Ecos Saucy to Jarno. So kind of a few different fields you can see on the map as well, kind of emerging here. Sorry, Laska's Binda. He's Binda coming out of turn 9, heading into turn 10. I just caught that at the end. Oh, he's had a massive accident. He's out of the race, and the safety car is deployed. So Team TTG, having had a 1-2 on the cards very early on in the race here, are now down to one runner. Wow.
Yeah, and that's I think that may have been caused by some dirty air, as they both were running in P1 and P2, and that is a disadvantage with racing, as if you race too close, the DRS, well, not the DRS, the dirty air, should I say, will hurt you, and I think that has just caught the TTT driver a little bit unaware. But yeah, safety car here, and I think majority of the soft runners will make a pit stop here in Austria.
That is good news indeed for NLR, who've got 2 cars in the top 6 after Dylan just lost that place to Sloth. Interesting kind of what happens now, because I think Crimson may have gone warning under the safety car there for track limits, because yes, he's diving into the pits. Okay, because soft commentators, you maybe think about pitting, lap 13-ish range. This is a little bit before that, so it'll be interesting to see if Crims and company on the softs go hards, or if they'll go on to, if you think mediums can still stretch it out. We'll see. Everyone in the top 7 into the pits. We'll see what the Reaper's going for, the hard compound tyres. Mediums then for Crims, so you can see the difference in approach. Mediums then for Jarno as well. Majority of them going for mediums, pitching from softs today. It's just the Reapers playing it safe on hards, and Dylan too. So NLR making the conscious decision then to go on the hards. They're not splitting their strategies. They are going for the hards. What do you make of that?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, hards obviously can potentially go the distance, but yeah, I think maybe Crims is just not sealing fate, obviously, of course, because there's still a lot of laps to go. But yeah, I think maybe Crims may just have to make a second stop, but he could be preying on a second safety car. It is possible, or even a virtual safety car, because the drivers have to reduce their speed by 40%, and if one of them drivers under VSC gets a drive-through, yeah, that could throw all sorts of possibilities out onto the track. But yeah, it is the two CPI drivers leading under the safety car, and yeah, it's going to be interesting if Reaps and Crims can get past these quite quickly. And yeah, we may just be in for an interesting rest of the race here under the safety car.
I think the mediums are potentially a bit of a risk, one that the likes of TTG and Ecos, will be happy to play. I think NLR going both hards, it's a very safe option. I think they're just looking to consolidate a double top 10 finish to really, and obviously the Reapers is running right up there for a net race lead, just looking to really consolidate some strong point finishes, just to take as many as they can from TTG and not run any risk of these tyres dying late on or any kind of puncture, whatever the case may be. By the time we get going again, it should be the end of this lap. So lap 11, it's a long way to ask mediums to go to the end. Ordinarily, you would want to maybe pit lap 13 to 15 kind of range, and the mediums who've stayed out will be looking to try and get to lap 21, 20 or so before they stick on the softs. So it's as to no one's surprised that a lot of the medium runners who start on mediums are staying out. This is too early in their window, and being on softs end the race is better than being on hards, I would imagine, in their mind. So it's going to be interesting. I'm glad we have got a little bit of different split of strategy. It's going to certainly make things interesting. But the Reapers, he's going to be worried about the safety cars in this lap. The thing he's going to be worried about is because Saucy's on mediums behind him, he might have to relinquish that position, or might be forced to relinquish that position, just not be able to fight with the tyre difference. But he's got Pisotron behind him on old mediums, and then Yarno, and then Morgan, then Sloth then is on mediums. So there's a few cars on older mediums that maybe could buy the Reapers a bit of time, and perhaps with a bit of luck on his side, maybe that's opened up a 1 second range, so he's not under attack from DRS and behind, but we shall see.
Yeah, as that safety car is going to be coming in now, it's going to be up to WTV Basti from CPI Esports to get us back underway. Well, both CPI drivers, and it looks like he has bolted, and we are back underway here on lap number 11 of 36 as the drivers are now coming through the final corner, and it looks like Crims has already overtaken CPI Marcel up into turn 1.
It's very close. I think he did it just after the line, but I wouldn't be too sure. As Sloth gets a penalty, that will be significant. He is one of the higher runners on the medium compound tyres, looking maybe to go to the end, or that's a car off the track. Not sure which one that is. Looks like I'm not sure who it is. Guten Simon is out of the race. See, that's why I couldn't go on board with him. As Crims, no immediate safety car at least in reply, so we're going to continue racing. As Crims then needs to try and get by Basti as quick as possible, because the Reapers is on hard. Ecos Saucy behind him. He can clear the second CPI car. He can look to put some distance between himself and his rivals. And just stuck, agonisingly stuck behind Basti heading through Sector 2. Nothing really changing behind him, which would be good news for him at the very least.
Yeah, and this is actually playing into the hands of NLR. Oh, there's a spin. It's, yeah, there is a spinner, and that is Basti gone completely round, and he is sitting on the track as he had to let quite a lot of drivers through, and that's down to P17 as Crims takes the race lead.
Yeah, easy enough then for Crims in the end, and have to worry about overtaking him into turn 1 as he did his teammate, but that's disappointing for CPI. An unforced error, perhaps distracted by the net race leader behind on mediums. Here we go then. Saucy looking like he's going to shape up a move on the Reapers heading into turn 4. He left the door open, to be fair, to the Reapers. He's left the space as well, but he should have the racing line on exit there. But you have to say, this is before DRS is enabled. You have to say this move from Saucy, you'd figure is coming sooner rather than later. And now they both need to clear CPI Marcel as quick as possible if they're to try and get back within Crims, who is already a DRS range away from them at the front.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think as Piles, I can't even pronounce it, the Esports Whale driver is battling with Yarno for that P5 as Crims sets the fastest lap, as Imersloth gets a position as well up to P6. But yeah, this is only going to help Crims, but I don't think NLR will be liking the fact that Saucy is going to be in this fight. Oh, as the Reaps is going to go for the move on CPI Marcel. And Marcel may be losing another position as well, as Ecos Saucy is going to go down into turn 4, looking for the move. They are side by side. Marcel's got nowhere to go as he had the NLR driver right in front of him as they go out of turn 4. And that's Marcel down to P4 and Ecos Saucy up to P3 and the Reaps up to P2.
A little bit of conflict between Saucy and the Reapers. I don't think it was intentional. I just think with the overspeed with DRS, you just wanted to clear Marcel, ended up tapping the back of the Reapers. Thankfully, no damage, but now this is the net position. 2.5 seconds and Crims, and that gap will be growing as well. with the compound difference, and this is Saucy needs to get by as soon as possible. There's an accident back. I think that's BNL Luke, who's had an accident coming out of turn 8, but you'd imagine there won't be much defence offered here, nor perhaps one needed. If the Reapers can stay within the DRS of Saucy, then that'll be saving his tyres a bit. But here he comes then. Yeah, it's not gonna defend it, as Jarno getting close to this little fight as well. So Saucy up into second place. We must be careful not to lose any more positions. Marcel will getting very close here. Not someone he wants to be overtaken by on 13-lap old mediums.
Yeah, all NSR Maxi, or Max should I say, is out of the race, and that's a safety car. This is absolutely a blessing to any medium runner, as Shifters gets a 5-second penalty. But yeah, the medium runners who were on maybe 11 to 13 lap mediums have just been gifted a free pit stop under the safety car.
Crimson got the gap to 3 seconds, so I'm not sure how he'll feel about the safety car, but it will help him save a little bit of tyre. He, of course, will stay out. Let's see, Marcel stays out on his 13-lap old mediums, as does Morgan. Positron will pit, though. He'll take the opportunity. That'll be a position gain for Dylan and company. He caught Shifters coming into the pits as well. I think he got himself a 5-second penalty for a collision under safety car conditions. So, yeah, I kind of wonder how Crims feels about that, because he had a nice gap. But at the same time, this will help. He's changing his front wing and serving his penalty as Shifters. A nice gap, but also this will help him save a little bit of the tyre. So maybe that I'm not sure how you feel about that.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that Marcel has opted not to pit. Obviously, being on 14-lap mediums, as it may be that because his teammate is in and his teammate has opted for the soft compound tyre. So that's maybe a 2-stop confirmed there. Yeah, Marcel in a very tricky position, as he would now lose a lot of positions, but he would be on the fresher tyre.
Yeah, I think the guys who started mediums, their hands are tied a bit, because you stayed out under the first safety car because you want to stretch to get the softs. If you pit now, you have to re-pit for hards. Softs, you know, if you get racing, assuming you get racing on lap 17. That's 4 or so laps earlier than you would come in for the set of softs if you're on mediums or hards. So it's a lot to ask of the soft tyre to go basically 19, 20 laps. So their hands are tied in many ways. So I don't blame Marcel a ton here for staying out. He wanted to stick to that medium softer, and I kind of think, you know, what you did under the first safety car has kind of forced your hand for the second one. So yeah, I'd like the Positron, Shifters, Basti. It's going to be a long way to ask a set of softs to do, but look, we could have another safety car in 5 laps, and you know, they might get lucky. The guys on softs, the guys on mediums might have another stroke of luck. You know, you're never quite sure which way it's going to unfold.
Yeah, and this is definitely going to be frustrating for TTG Crims, because every time he gets a gap, it is brought back down because of a safety car. And yeah, Saucy might just be having a think about, yeah, this safety car, I can maybe close up that gap up even more, and maybe take a potential race win here.
The difference this time for Crims is that the Reapers on the hards safety car is in this lap. The problem for Crims is this lap trying to get a gap is that the car behind him is now on mediums are the same lap as his, whether before he had the protection of guys on old mediums and even the Reapers on hards. Now he will not have that, so it's going to be, I think it may prove a little bit more difficult for him to get the gap this time. But let's see where he decides to go. Let's see how he picks his moment. Of course, always interesting to see drivers' different approach to when they choose to go. Of course, he could go any time now, and he is gone, and he's caught Saucy napping somewhat. So not a bad restart for Crims. He'll be comfortable heading up towards turn 1 and shouldn't be bothered by too much slipstream heading up to turn 3.
Yeah, as they are getting back underway here in Austria, up into turn 1, and it looks like Crims has got away nice and successfully, as there's a battle here for P9 between Smalley and Dylan. Hard versus medium, as it looks like Smalley got himself up to P9, but is the Reap closed the gap up to Saucy? No, he hasn't. But Marcel is just keeping within that gap as well to Reaps. But Jarno is also right on the back of Marcel. No DRS for the first 2 laps after the safety car, so the drivers will be using ERS and their outright pace.
This could get quite bad for Dylan because now most cars are pitted now and they're on mediums or softs in this case. Well, look, what was the safe strategy at the time at the first safety car has potential to really backfire for Dylan because he's well within the pack. You've got a couple of drivers in front of you yet to pit on mediums, but everyone behind him is on either much fresher. Oh, CPI Marcel has lost it coming out of turn 9. Luckily, Jarno didn't hit into the back of him. He was very lucky. He got on the brakes very well there. But just about survives that one. Has a couple of penalties flying through. And the 2 QVR cars switch as well.
Oh, as Jarno gets very understeer coming out of turn 1 on that curb. And that lets I Am a Sloth just close that gap up in P5 as Smalley and Morgan are having a battle here, and Morgan, is he going to get it done? It doesn't look like it, and Morgan will stay in P8 as he tries to get past Smalley to try and help his QVR teammate.
Dylan and Pysatron, this is the problem. Oh, he's gone a bit deep as Dylan, but Pysatron, he goes off the track, and that'll allow Dylan to keep the position as well, but Pysatron will keep that position ahead of Ecos Shifters. This is the problem for Dylan. He's on a durable tyre, but right now there's going to be a lot of pain involved as potentially a lot of drivers might come through soft versus hard. It's going to be difficult to defend that no matter who you are.
Yeah, and look at the train that is behind Dylan. There's about 5 cars waiting as DRS is now enabled, and I think maybe Dylan is going to be a sitting duck as the Esports Whale driver and the Ecos driver may just look to get past, but as they come through into turn 1 and then up into turn 2, DRS is enabled, so they're going to use it as I think Shifters is having a look. Yes, he is going to have a look. He's going to go for it. He's going to go round the outside, up and into turn 3, and it looks like Shifters has got the move done before that second DRS, but Pysatron has got the DRS. Is he going to go for the move? He goes for the move again into turn 4, and it's also Basti is having a look as well at I believe, he's got the move done. Is that Mike? No, that's not Mike, that is Pysatron, as Basti did have a look, but the move did not get done.
Dylan really struggling on those hards. Jarno kind of closed the door on Sloth heading into turn 4. Those two are very close. Well, that's a battle for P4. Meanwhile, Cribs he's clear of DRS, but Saucy has not been able to drop the Reapers on those hard competitors, and more added misery for Dylan. He's now got a 3-second time penalty. But he's going to shape up and move on Morgan Hay into turn 1. He's going to go send it. No, not quite. As Basti and Pysatron side by side heading out of turn 1. He gets that move done. Morgan then under pressure because not only has he got Dylan behind, but Shifters too. And through goes one. See if the other one.
Whoa,
Shifters he tries to go through the middle of them.
Yeah, Shifters is going to battle this as it looks like a 4-car train, but Shifters has got the move as he went through the middle there. Fantastic move, and he's going to lead this pack into turn 4. They're all fighting behind him, and this is only going to help him.
I think I saw someone's wing fly. I'm not sure whose it was. It was Morgan's. Morgan's left end plate has gone. I thought I saw something fly through. That's a shame for Morgan. He's on 19 lap old mediums. Grip won't be helped from that point of view, but even more so now. But absolute mad battle. But now Shifters has finally cleared some of those cars he could set off after Smalley for 7th place. He's got 11 lap old mediums in front of us. So these are the guys now who pitted under the first safety car that he's got in front of him. Had to think about getting his tyres to the end, but now Shifters in a good spot to try and make up some time.
Yeah, this will be crucial for Ecos Shifters as Saucy gets a 3-second time penalty. So the Reaps only just has to keep within 3 seconds, and he could be eyeing up a P2. So he can just sit there and just hold within 3 seconds. As
I'm laughing because it's extremely crafty from Sloth. He got on the brakes a little bit, heading up towards turn 3. Made sure he was behind Jarno before that line, that second activation point, and made sure he was the one that had the DRS heading down towards turn 4. Very crafty indeed from Sloth. He moves up into 4th place.
Yeah, and it looks like there's battles everywhere on the track as it's very hard to look at 1 second at one and then you've got to go back to another one, as Jarno is right on the back of I Am a Sloth, and yeah, what a name as well for a PlayStation name, as they come through the DRS zone on the start finish line. Jarno is gonna get DRS. He's not gonna have a look here, but I expect going up into turn 2 and turn 3, he may just have a look, as he is having a look. He's gonna go for, no, he's had a look the other side, and no, that door has been firmly closed. Oh, sector 1, yellow flags.
Oh,
That's a white car. That is NSR Maidstone. He has had a spin, but he's got himself back underway on lap 6 mediums.
the Reaper's putting increasing pressure on Saucy for a second, who's dropping back a bit. I think Smalley may have hinted the back of Maledictus into that turn 3 braking zone. There's obviously, like, there's 4 cars right here, being Sloth, Jarno, Maledictus and Smalley, so I think the bottleneck may have been pushed a little bit. I'm not sure if Smalley is damaged. There's definite contact, certainly I think, between Maledictus and Smalley, but I'm not sure if any damage has been done. But Sloth holds on to it for the time being, and Crims is getting the way out front as well. That gap is over 2 seconds now.
Oh, Dylan, what's happened to Dylan? He's just dropped. Dylan has spun it in the pit lane. Dylan is in the pit lane, and yeah, he is fingering a yellow flag. Dylan is into the pits.
I'm not sure if that was a scheduled stop or if that spin on the turn 9 curve was just taking him into it, but disappointing for him. I do think he was unfortunate circumstance as Basti gets and Shifters having a little battle. I think he was an unfortunate victim of the second safety car that allowed everyone to pitch for softer compound tyres, and he got just locked in a battle when he was playing the long game on the first safety car. Hasn't worked out. They chose not to split the strategies at NLR. One car is working out well enough for so far. The second one, I'm afraid, hasn't gone the plan. He'll put on softs, maybe hope for another safety car to get him back in the fray.
Yeah, riding on board with Basti from CPI Esports. He's got Shifters right behind him, and Shifters is in DRS range. What a recovery drive at the moment from Basti, but I wouldn't be very surprised if Shifters looks to make that move up into P8.
In front of him is the obviously they've joined the back of this train now, have Basti and Shifters, with Maledictus, Jarno, Sloth and Smalley as well. Jarno just not close enough to make a move on Sloth into towards turn 3, and even though Sloth doesn't have DRS, he's able to get enough drive. Now he's got very low amount of ERS, so maybe playing the long game for Jarno will be what helps him get by, but difference of ERS for sure, keeping Sloth ahead of Jarno. I'm not sure how long he can play that game for.
Yeah, and Smalley is having a look at Maledict. Oh, I can't even pronounce it. The QVR driver of. Yeah, he's okay at the moment, but Smalley is within that 1 second and very close as well. So I expect that may be an overtake as well. And yeah, every driver is on the lead lap, so nobody is a lap down at the moment, as we're on lap 25, 11 laps to go.
The Reaper's putting pressure on Saucy. There is a car that is off the track. I think that may be BNR Luke again off the track.
It is.
It is indeed. As Sloth again keeps the position. The Reapers is putting increasing pressure. I can't imagine it's only a matter of time. Maledictus is by Jarno, and Smalley just behind this. Bit of a twitch from Smalley there, but Maledictus then punishing Jarno for not going up the inside of Sloth at turn 3, and now he'll be his turn to try and have a look on Sloth then for P4.
Yeah, and I think maybe, well, I don't think they will pit now, but their medium runners up in the top 7, their tyres are going to be coming near to the end of their life in around about 5 or 6 laps. So yeah, it's going to be very close for them at the end, as the Reaps is on 15 lap old hards, and he is within 1 second of Saucy, as Saucy does have a penalty and would drop him at least.
Sorry, Jarno's been coming out of turn 1. Sorry to interrupt you there. He's been coming out of turn 1. Great view of that from the rear wing. As Maledictus then gets by Sloth while we're looking at that. So that's Maledictus suddenly up to P4. And Sloth and his teammate Smalley just behind. I wonder if they'll swap. But as Maledictus up into P4 then.
Yeah, a great drive from the QVR driver.
The two TRT cars are taking each other out. Oh my goodness. I think they're trying to let each other go. Safety cars deployed. Collision between the two TRT cars. The back end was lost. It collectors one. The other one was sent in. And that is going to be highly embarrassing and unfortunate for TRT. What a helicopter shot this is. Oh dear. Crims is in.
Yeah.
Wow, Crims is in. The Reapers is in. They're all going to put on soft compound tyres.
No, QVR has decided to stay out. He is going to take the safety car, and yeah, that's not a great thing from TRT, and I would not like to be TRT James right now, as yeah, both TRT drivers out of the race from an incident in turn 4, as the safety car is now out on lap 27 of 36.
I did wonder if the Reapers would be tempted to go and take the track position, but once it's always the tough one when you're at the front, because you have to be the first one. You have the one to think, if I pitch or if I don't pitch, does everyone else come in? If I pitch, does everyone else stay out? But softs, yeah, best way to go. The majority of the field will go onto them now. It'll allow the field to catch up. I gotta say, bold call from Maledictus to stay out here. As he is going everyone down, down to P14 essentially is on fresh softs or mediums. In case of Morgan and Nitin there. So Maledictus, he may lead the safety car restart, but where he'll finish is going to be another issue.
Yeah, he has a penalty as well. I will just double check what his penalties are. Bear me that 1 second. So, an update on the penalties. The QVR driver of Maledictus. I've got it right for the for the 100th time. With 3 seconds, Ecos Sossi has 3. Pizatron has 3. Yano has 6. CPI Marcel has 3. NLR Dylan has 3. NSR Madison or Maidson has 3, and BNLR Luca has 6 respectively. Oh, and he has retired in the pits. I don't know what that's for, but he could have stayed out and got himself some points there, even though if it was P15. But yeah, he has retired from the session.
Oh dear, I'm watching the replay of the Smalley Sloth incident. Really helped by the helicopter shot that was on the broadcast as well. Oh dear, that is going to be a little bit of a kerfuffle for sure. Shame, because they had two cars in the top 10 there going well. So I think I mentioned earlier that stranger things have, I think we were talking about Crims and Laska about potentially two teammates colliding. Stranger things have happened. Well, I mean there you go. Stranger things have happened in team events if they're going to fight each other perhaps. Well, there you go. I mean, I didn't think we'd actually see it though. Was the other thing, but yeah, there you go. TRT, who were in a pretty good position, I'm pretty sure, in the where are they? They were in that little battle for third there with ESW and QVR and OWR as the safety cars in this lap.
Yeah, so it is going to be QVR Maledictus in the prime position of the race lead. But I guarantee you, as Graham mentioned, I don't think that will be where he finishes, as everyone behind him, except from Maidstone, is on fresh mediums or fresh softs, as he's going to wait still. And it looks like he has bolted, but he doesn't keep Crims napping, as they are back on the way, as Dylan gets a 5-second penalty for an incident with Morgan as they go up into turn number 1. No DRS labelled, as Crims is running the back, and he's already going for the move around the outside as they go up side by side into turn number 3, and that's Crims up into the race lead. But Maledictus isn't going to fight that one, as the Reaps all touches the back of the tyre of Maledictus's car, as Reaps wants to get this move done very quickly. He's having a look, and down into turn 4 hopefully there's no more incidents there, as the Reaps is up into P2 and Maledictus is dropping quite rapidly now.
Yeah, defended that one quite hard now, to be fair. I didn't. He kind of moved over and then came back as the Reaper was trying to follow his slipstream. But yeah, this is going to be a bit of a problem for teams to negotiate. They're going to have to try and do this as safely as they can, because the advantage that they have attire-wise is extreme. 1 lap softs versus 19 lap bold mediums. It is a very extreme. Teams are going to have to be careful out of traction zones and such. Ecos Saucy then looking to follow them through next.
And
he gets through.
Yeah, he gets through. Fair play to Ecos or COS Esports. They are going to get absolutely massive points here, as Shifters is going to have a look. He's going to go round the outside of turn number 3. SOS versus Worn mediums, and that is Ecos or COS up to P3 and P4. Shifters may just sit there and hold and defend for Saucy to get that 3 seconds, as Basti is going to go. He's going to go for it into turn 4. No more incidents, please, guys. As yeah, that's Basti up to P5, and I wouldn't be surprised if Maledictus does drop out the side, the top 10.
I wouldn't be surprised if no one ends up colliding with him in some way, shape, or fashion, because you basically have 10, 12 cars trying to get through. You'd have to imagine someone's going to trip up somewhere. So he's in 6th at the moment. I do wonder if how much danger he's put himself under by staying out here, because with so many cars coming by you, you do wonder if one perhaps might get it wrong. That's another penalty for Saucy. That's 6 seconds. It's going to drop him off the podium at this rate. Now, I'll put his teammate there in exchange, but it'll drop him certainly below Basti at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, set the 1 yellow flags. That is mad out. Is that going to cause a late VSC? As Maledictus is dropping. Oh, Yano's out as well.
Turn 3 exit.
And that's a safety car. Oh, we had this in Baku. It was literally last few laps we had a safety car. This literally saves Maledictus.
It does. He'll drop down to the back, but...
Yeah, with all the penalties in front of him. Yes, late drama here as a double DNF of NSR Mason. So NSR won't get any points in Austria tonight. And yeah, that's Jarno out. And I believe Jarno is BNLR. So no points also for BNLR.
Could be honest, tracks like Baku, you expect a high attrition rate. I did not think Austria was going to would see so many DNFs. But here we are, 12 runners left. Maledictus will indeed pitch. That is a lifeline for him. I gotta be honest, that is an absolute lifeline. That'll single-handedly save his race, because I was absolutely sure that someone was going to trip over him eventually. And he was fighting positions hard, was the other thing. Like, it wasn't just he was letting cars go. He was fighting them hard on those tyres. He was begging for someone to trip over him. And he can consider himself very lucky that he is going to emerge on in 10th here on fresh tyres.
Yeah, and also fantastic fight back from ESW, Esports Wales Tan. They have, got through 3 safety cars. They've got through all the incidents and, their own incidents that they may have had, and they are now sitting in a P6 and P7. So this will help their points, and obviously Ecos. This is just, it's not affecting Shifters as much, but it is affecting Ecos Sozzi massively, because he has 6 seconds. But people behind him has penalties as well. So, yeah, he needs to get this safety car in very quickly, as Morgan is 16.3 seconds behind Marcel. As I won't be surprised if OWR, is it Knitten? I can't. I do apologise if the name is said wrong, but he may just drop a few places, as he's on 4-lap mediums, and he's got Maledictus right behind him. I'm
going to be honest, I'm surprised he didn't pitch, but I'm also surprised NLR didn't advise Dylan to pitch, so that he would use some track position, but he would at least serve that 5 seconds. Now, of course, they will try and the more likely scenario is they'll just get that removed in the steward's office. But sometimes you don't want to leave any doubts hanging around, and if he did genuinely collide with them, then it might be a different story. Now, likely speaking, it's probably just a tap. He's got 5 seconds, so that's why they leave him out, and they'll fight it in the stewards. But Yeah, Nitin now, I'm not going to be honest, I'm surprised he didn't pit on mediums, because he could have, Maledictus pitted too, so he could have easily stayed exactly where he was, and, or, at worst case, P9 or 10, but he's going to be, yeah, like I said, he's going to be a little bit vulnerable on those, on those, on those mediums.
Yeah, as the safety car is still out at the moment with on lap 33 of 36. As the safety car is now in, I'll hand you over to my commentator colleague Graham. Safety car here in Austria at the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, 3-lap sprint is going to be. Crims has been fairly comfortable, but this time unlike last time, he does have the Reapers immediately behind him and now on the same tyre, so it might be a little bit different this time round. Saucy is out of contention with his penalty, but now the Reapers finally has a chance to go at Crims on equal tyres. We'll see if he's got the pace or not. Crims has been fairly comfortable all race long, but has been on different competitive tyres, and he's gone. And that's a good restart from Crims, very good restart. DRS will be enabled on the last lap, by the way, so that is worth noting, as well as battles are resumed, as is the racing Maledictus then immediately by his teammate, by ahead of Nitin rather, on those softs. So no real surprise. And Saucy then, the one thing the Reapers can't afford to do is fall behind Saucy in these exchanges, because he's got 6 seconds. He's not going to be a factor in this for the race win, but the Reapers will certainly lose his race win if he dropped behind Saucy.
Yeah, Saucy may just require shifters to back up the pack behind him, but I don't think it's going to create enough of a 6-second gap. But this track is quite short, so yeah, it may just be full throttle pace from Saucy to create that gap. But yeah, he is 5 to 6 tenths in front of his teammate at the moment, but they all are still bunched up, and I don't think we'll be seeing any massive gaps now, as we are in the final 2 to 3 laps here in Austria.
It's going to be interesting to see if anyone can do anything with DRS. Of course, the person who won't have DRS, arguably going to be under the most threat, will be Crims, because he'll be leading the race, of course. So unless anyone can create any extra gaps, there is one form between Paisatron and Basti, but you'd have to say, if the Reapers can save enough ERS and be close enough coming out of turn 1 and turn 3, then there's every chance. A switch of positions then at ESW, either been Mike, who's no penalties ahead, and Nikos Shifters side by side with Basti. So Shifters was in 4th. Basti looking to, this is for a podium, of course, with Saucy's penalties. This is for a podium, so get the elbows out, and they certainly are. Clean, bit of contact, but clean enough. Basti on the outside, Shifters on the inside, using a little bit of the grass, still side by side. And Shifters does well to hold that one, to be fair, but they have dropped back considerably on the front 3, and Basti will have the DRS as they are about to head on to this last lap. Then Reapers is going to have 1-2 chances, and you can see Crims trying to break the toes. It'll all come down to the last lap with DRS, and you'd have to say the Reapers is looking good. How's his exit out of turn 1? It's pretty good. He's going to have a great chance to take Crims. He's going to decide to do it now rather than wait for turn 4, taking no chances. The Reapers takes the lead of the race, but Crims rather. Oh, bit of contact to rear with Crims and Reapers. I'm not sure will he be able to respond. He's got the DRS, and a bit of weaving going on. There's an accident, but we're just going to stick with this. And the Reapers moving back across. Crims goes for the lunge. He's made contact, and Crims is round. He's spun, trying to go for the overtake on the last lap to take it back from the Reapers. That is going to be one that may be contested, who knows. But the Reapers took the position to turn 3 and is going to take the checkered flag first today, it seems.
Yeah, what a fantastic race we've had. Late drama, teammates having incidents as well, but it is going to be the Reaps from Neverlast Racing. NLR Esports will take the provisional race win here and take the checkered flag with Nikos Saucy. He will drop, I believe, and yeah, he's going to drop to P5. So that's Basti up to P2 with Nikos Shifters in P3. So definitely when we come back in the new year, Ecos or COS Esports will not be finally in that minus.
Basti then from the back of the grid, of course, with CPI's qualifying ban. He did get shifters on that last lap, so he did end up finishing P2. So fantastic recovery from his point of view. But for now, provisionally, like you say, the Reapers does take the win. There may be some contention about how that came. Maybe there may have been some moving on the brake. I need to see it again, to be fair. But Crims then sent it on the inside into turn 4, front to rear. Generally speaking, for the car behind for the car behind, generally speaking, that does end up in a bit of a spin, and he lost himself some positions in the process. But it'll be interesting how the stewards will see that one, because I'm sure it's going to go there. But for now, the Reapers takes the win for NLR ahead of Basti then in second. Great drive from him from 19th place. Ecos Shifters then finished third from 8th. Morgan then, good result for him in the QVR. He's in 4th. Saucy then dropped to 5th. Not as bad as I perhaps thought it would be, with 6 seconds and 3 laps. So not too bad for Saucy, though he did deserve a little bit more today, but his mistakes can't cost him there. Crims then, led the race for pretty much the entirety. Finishes in 6th, and Maledictus then in 7th. CPI Marcel, good top 10 for CPI after their qualifying ban. Nitten then in 9th, Iron Mike 10th, Pisatron 11th. Dylan ended up 12th in the end, and we lost from this race Jarno, Madsen, Luke, Smalley, Sloth, Max Fierro, Gudrun Simon, and TTG Laska very early on. Who knows where he could have been in this race had he not made that mistake.
Yeah, and that is it for 2021 for EML. We'll be back on the 26th of January 2022 for round number 6, where we depart Austria in Spielberg at the Red Bull Ring, and we are off to the sunny and wonderful Circuit of America in, I believe it's in Texas. So we will be back then, but there is also a final week before Christmas of TTML. TTML F2 and F3 will be back tomorrow at 8 PM, where Formula 2 and Formula 3 will take to the track in Russia at the Sochi Autodrome, and then for the final races as well of F4 and F5 will also take to the Russia track as they battle it out at the Sochi Autodrome. And then the final race in TTML for 2021 will be our F1, ladies and gentlemen. They will also contest at the Russia track at the Sochi Autodrome. But from myself and Graham, we would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and we will see you in 2022 for round 6 at the COTA track in Circuit of Americas.